Hello, friends, and welcome back to r/ProRevenge. Today we have two stories for you. In the first, we'll tell you about an unusual revenge against an employee who liked to steal things from his colleagues. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Here we go. The keys are in that box. First off, I'd like to say this is my father's revenge and not mine, but it was one of his best. A little backstory to get you caught up. My father was a welder at a pulp and paper mill on maintenance with the union. There were around 500 people who worked there at the time, mid to late 80s. On my dad's crew, there was a man they called Squirrel because he'd take anything small enough to carry and take it home. Some of the things were specialized tools made for a certain machine, and they would have to be ordered again at the company's expense. I guess there wasn't much the mill could do because somehow the union backed him. It wasn't long before my father's tools started going missing. He knew where to look and found them in Squirrel's toolbox and some scattered on his workbench. Squirrel was an average-sized man, around 5'9" to 5'10", but my father was a huge man, standing 6'5" and around 250 pounds, so Squirrel didn't say a word. He was too scared to. My father reported this to the union rep in the main office and was told they will investigate. Squirrel was given a 1-week paid suspension while the investigation went on. They found many of the missing things in his locker, lunchbox, toolbox, etc. Somehow, he got the union to back him again and was allowed to come back to work at the end of his suspension. My father grabbed his mobile welder and went into Squirrel's area and welded together a giant metal box. He took everything he could identify as Squirrel's and put it in the box and welded a top on it. He said he used 5/8 stainless to make it out of. He then got the help of one of his work buddies to lift the box, and Dad welded it onto the bottom of an I-beam on the ceiling, about 20 feet in the air. The day Squirrel came back, he was looking for all his things, but couldn't find it at all. He asked everyone he could, but no one said a word except, "I take care of my tools. Maybe you should take better care of yours." This went on for a couple hours until Squirrel went into the main office to complain, saying someone stole everything of his. The shop steward and Squirrel walked into the maintenance shop to ask the people in there where his things were. Dad stood up and walked up close, and knowing him, he was towering over Squirrel and said something along the lines of, "Squirrels like to climb to store their stuff. You sure you didn't climb the I-beam and put your stuff up there?" He would laugh just as hard at every telling when he got to this part. Squirrel went into his work area and looked up. He saw the box up there. He tried to get anyone's help to get it down, but everyone seemed to have important things to do and can't at the moment. Squirrel took a day and a half working alone to get his things from the box and to remove the box from where it was welded. My father said not a thing ever went missing again, and Squirrel worked there another 10 years or more until the mill was shut down. I can say I believe him because one night staying at his place, I got drunk and was thinking about going home. He went to the basement and made a little box and welded my keys in it. I got them back the next day. I miss my father and his stories. I hope this qualifies as pro. And our next story. Boss's boss blocked my contract bonus payout, so I cut last line that kept company merely afloat. The story started about 2 years ago. I was finishing second-year automation engineering. Also, I worked in industry before and had graduated from technical high school, higher secondary, so I knew a bunch of useful stuff. The company that hired me as a part-time, 16-hour-a-week, was making a bunch of mechanical devices. It's pretty specialized stuff, one of 3 manufacturers of that stuff in my country, so I can't say what exactly. My job after a month of learning how stuff worked was to A, help in fixing down broken automated equipment, like when replacing proximity sensors with what was at hand, teaching 40-ish or 50-ish year old mechanics and electricians from fixing department about how modern stuff worked and how to fix it. B, finding places where efficiency could be improved by ergonomics or by automating certain processes and designing it. It all comes to the B point of my duties. I got my office desk with computer. Something that would take a few seconds on my middle-grade gaming laptop was taking literally minutes. I asked if I could use my private laptop. He agreed, it'll be important later, and called IT guys to give me SolidWorks license and cybersecurity briefing. Fast forward. I'm already hired for almost 3 months, and I made pretty good designing of automated workstation. About $250K in cost of implementation, $140K of saving yearly after implementation period, with worst-case scenario of return investment in 22 months. My boss gave it a green light, but after presenting it to his boss rejected it for too small impact. 2 weeks later, I got my new contract for 12 months. Better pay, few benefits, but no new PC because I could work on my own. I just asked IT guys directly if they could give me another, bigger display and got one which they had as spares. After another 5 months, I presented another design of process automation. This time I've gone bigger. $800K cost of implementation, $425K of yearly savings, and 27 months of WCS return. This time it was all accepted. Work should be finished on December of 2018, but due to delays in our contractors, we finished it up at end of January 2019. There, the main problem starts. My contract guaranteed me 1% of costs of implementing Dessings as a bonus. I should get it with my January payout, but on my bank account, I found only normal pay. This bonus policy smelled, but I asked my colleagues and they said that only overtime is paid month to month and all bonuses are paid annually in November. As I was halfway in the third project, I decided to work even harder to get really good money at the end of the year. After a month, I presented third design, $650K cost of investment, $350K yearly savings, and WCS of 24 months. I got rejected without a word. Also, my contract was close to end, and the company didn't want to give me a raise. Just the same contract, word for word, for till the end of 2019. I signed it because at the moment I couldn't find anything else. Also, no raise for me sucked twice as much. I expected it because I finished my Bachelor of Science degree, automation and robotics. Fast forward another few months, it's middle of the year, we have a meeting with CEO, all the white and gold collars from production departments, including my boss's boss. The CEO says that the company is struggling, about half an hour of speech, and that we're not getting any raises for at least a year of time. Also, nothing's going to change in the income. The company will close in 2 to 3 years. So yeah, I wanted to discuss my contract with my boss's boss, but I gave up after CEO speech ended. I had the answer already. As most of the crew was underpaid already, the morale rocketed down. A few days later, my boss's boss wanted to see me. At the meeting, he asked what I was working on. I told him about my actual number 4 project, $1.2 million US cost, $600K US in yearly savings, WCS of 29 months. He told me that I should go even bigger and that we need to reduce costs everywhere it's possible, and that I'm no longer allowed to help fixing stuff, and I should focus all my time on making money savers for the company. For 5 months, I worked in front of my computer, sometimes even at home, making Money Saver production line, which was Project 1 and 3 and 4, and some other new stuff, which would cost somewhere around $3.1 to $3.8 million, with $1.7 to $2 million yearly savings, and WCS of 28 months. I don't know exact numbers, as you'll find out. I've not finished it. And reported every 2 weeks to my boss and my boss's boss. To the point. November 27th came and I didn't get my bonus, only November payout. Asked my colleagues, they all got theirs around the 20th of November. I asked my boss about it. He told me he'd sent bonus payroll to his boss and maybe it got lost somewhere. A few days later, my boss's boss called me and asked to meet him. At the meeting, he explained to me that I won't be getting any bonus because on July, after CEO speech, company internal rules of bonuses were changed, and now he has no way to pay bonuses to part-time workers. I asked, what about my contract, which clearly states that I'm getting 1% of implementation costs, among other smaller bonuses. He told me that's overruled by internal rules. I proposed raising my pay so I'll get my money till the end of my contract. He refused because CEO said no raises. I politely asked him to find another way to pay me. On my side of things, I realized there's no pretty way for me to get paid, but I still worked as before, maybe with a little bit lower efficiency. I took all my vacation days, finished my projects, and asked my boss for a reference letter, which he gave me. At that point, I just wanted to create as much havoc as I could. Last 2 weeks of December are always vacations for physical production workers, so fixing and maintenance stuff can fix everything that has something to fix. For this December, there was scheduled replacement of old and breaking down PLCs, exactly 11, and properly fixing the rest, which was makeshift repaired, reprogrammed, etc., 17. New GE ones were to replace old rusty and crusty Simonses, which I had to reprogram. We replaced everything that needed replacement: PLCs, sensors, communication lines, inverters, etc. I had new ladder programs for new PLCs already on my laptop and modified programs for old ones so they can work with new equipment. On the last day of my work, December 31st, I've called my boss to ask what should I do with my laptop because of cybersecurity. He just told me to go to IT department. IT guys told me that they have to wipe my hard drive. It's the same thing they told me almost 2 years ago. They wiped it in front of me, gave me a paper signed by them stating that I have no company files on my personal laptop or any other device. I filled any form needed for my discharge from company and come by to say goodbye to my colleagues. They all knew why I didn't want to work there anymore. About half of them would be leaving the company soon anyway because of underpayment, etc. Aftermath. Few dozens of angry calls from my former boss's boss asking me to give them their property, all 5 projects with files for construction, programs, schematics, new programs for PLCs that were replaced, and modified programs for old fixed ones, which company itself deleted. Also, 3 nice calls from my former boss asking me to sign a new contract with better pay, still at least 10% below average for the industry, and more benefits. Of course, I did not take the offer. I have enough money saved till my master's in June, and then a few months so I can focus on my studies. And don't think about it. Right now, whole production department does not work. Few guys gave their leaving notice, 3 months in my country. Also, I remember what CEO said. In 2 or 3 years, there could be no company at all, as they're currently struggling, which means they are way in debt. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.